we got another one bites the dust, another one gone, another one gone. You know, Jerome Baker is now, looks like maybe Wilkins is, X is definitely, maybe Hunt. We got a bunch of guys that have been here for a while, and they might not be back. We can't say exactly what's going to be what. You know, people want to take one piece out and say the unit's going to be this or it's not. You can kind of hedge your bets, obviously, you know. But football is a team sport, so we've got to see what pieces they put on here. But some of these pieces leaving are very critical. For me, we've got to at least get Hunt back if we're letting Wilkins go. Physicality, what I've been talking about for years, was proved to be a major weakness, and I hear a lot of people talking, we need to get more physical. Well, if you pull Wilkins off, it's a lot of physicality off the defense, and you pull Hunt off the offense. That's a lot of physicality off the offense, and the offense can't afford that. But we don't know if Hunt's is going to be here or not, so let's hope he is. So I'm going to get into Jonnu Smith. There's some talk that maybe Jonnu Smith, the Dolphins got their eyes on him. It's kind of ethereal reports. But I could see it happening. There's pros and cons to that. I want to get in that. Obviously, talk about Baker, gone. Going to go over the current roster with the money, and you'll see what we have to work with as far as starters. There's a lot of work to be done. And then I'm going to get into some comments from the media that tie a lot of this stuff together. So that's the whole deal. Now, I keep hearing the criticisms growing. I didn't know I didn't generate all these topics, but I do know some of the guys that are bringing up some criticisms pay attention to me. And I know that, you know, because they're big and I'm small, you know, you don't get noted for that. You just kind of say it as your own. Not saying it's everyone, but I know it's some of them. I know. So I need you guys' help. I need the likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff helps this channel here. But also I'm doing, as you can see, with a little thing here, so I don't have to say, Curtis at Phins News 1, Twitter. It's a big voice. Don't really like to do it, but it is essential, so help me out over there, guys. Also, I got the live at 10 p.m. this Friday. Going to go over the team roster as it is, the peripheral storylines, hear from you guys and shoot, because I always learn and we can work out this situation together. Nothing's written in stone. Greer has a lot of work. It's a critical season for him, but people are already saying we're doomed in 24, and other people saying, you know, it's all going to be okay. And neither one of those are true. It's somewhere in the middle, and it might tend towards one or the other, but let's work it out on Friday night at 10 p.m. Okay. So let's get into the current roster. You can see this image here. I put it together. It's from PFF. You don't have to take grades, but you can see the holes in the roster. We've got so the numbers at the top is from over the cap. We're at minus 18 million. We're getting closer. We shaved off a lot of money, but some of the guys we shaved off were players, so you have to replace them, and so it's not all free money. We have 43 guys on the roster, but that a lot of those guys, at least half, are guys that might not even be starting or depth for you. Dolphins might want that, but it doesn't look like it's any way, shape, or form clear they will. So this is a very small roster, and the Dolphins, again, have a lot of work. You can see here, safety, linebacker, you know, the orange, the red is what, you know, if there's nobody there, or the talent is not good enough, and we have a body there, because I think Eichenberg is certainly going to be starting. I'll get into that in a little bit. Now, to put the red square around Jackson, but that might trigger some people, and I'm not here to do that. I really am not. I want to present my evaluations, so you can put the red square or not, depending on how you feel. But you can see cornerback. We need a cornerback. Maybe Cam Smith gets in there. We don't know. Obviously, D-tackle. We really have nobody there. Maybe Peely comes in. Then you got Chubb and Phillips. You know, they're going to be restricted because of injuries, Armstead, retirement, unretirement, health, not health. And then obviously T. Smythe is a backup. And I'm going to get into the tight end position to show you what everybody is now starting to talk about. But I've been saying for 2 years. And this tight end position is critical. But I think Jonnu Smith is the kind of guy they're going to get into it. But again, I'll get into the positives and negatives. So Jonnu Smith, with some reports that maybe he comes here. And there's a lot to like about Jonnu Smith. He's still pretty young. I think he's like 28, 29. He's got athletic talent. He can catch the football. But on the down, that's a positive, okay? And there's a lot of positive. When you've got, you know, Hill and Waddle, And then you got Jonnu Smith. That's an ability to affect the center of the field. You start creating in the pass game 4-point tension. Tension deep, front, and sides. And that puts a lot of pressure and usually spreads things out in the middle. And that's why the tight end position is a very, very critical position for quarterbacks, for offense. And it usually causes a lot of problems for the defense. Now, Jonnu Smith, though, is a poor run blocker. He's had some okay seasons. One season is, pretty good. But for the most part, he is a low-level run blocking tight end. And it's not bad if you've got another guy to balance that out. But Smythe, good pass blocker, mostly. Once in a while, he'll do something nice in the run game, but he's not good either. So, and then Hill, big guy, possibility. If he can get his technique down, maybe he could become that guy. But right now, if we sign Jonnu Smith, it's going to be Jonnu Smith, Smythe, and Hill, and no real run blocking. That 4-point tension in the run game is not going to be there. And I'm going to get into that a little more deeply because you have to remember, you've got to create tension in the play itself, the pass or the run, but then the ability to create tension on both the pass and run creates ambiguity and tension between the play callers, the DC and the OC, to make them apprehensive. Because if you have 4-point tension in the run game, and it's a down that could be a run or a pass, then that DC's got to guard that area, which then that tension in the run game would actually open up space in the pass game. Savvy? So we really need to get physical. I've been talking about the physicality for years. The game was always about it. Cloud of war because of the long-standing heavy pass thing with the rule adjustment. But it is back. The cycle is starting again about 2 years ago. And it's going to be critical. Now, you see right here, Kevin Patra wrote this article, and I saw it was a really good one. I didn't hear this because I'm mostly focusing on Dolphins. New Chargers offensive coordinator Greg Roman. Can you imagine Justin Herbert with a run game? Whoa, mind-blowing stuff. Now, he loves to run. We understand that. He comes from that. So maybe it's a little bit biased, but it's not. Anybody who watches football understands. If you threat with the run, you have a threat with the run, the DC's got to take care of that. And a couple times a game, if you've got a good passing game, they will prepare for the run and it will open up the big play on offense. And now the way defenses are playing, a few big plays changes things. So he said here, I think in this league, you can really, really help dictate the defense if you have a strong rushing attack. Remember, I've been saying that for a while. They know what we're doing. We run outside. We pass outside, we run screens, we do the pocket post, and we go deep. Everything is around the edges. There's no tension. And while the run game was big on the side, it sucked inside. And if you can run inside, then it opens up the edges. If you affect the edges, then it should open up the inside, but we can't do that. That's why we need it. If you really talk to most defensive coordinators in this league, you got them off to the side when they're playing a really good running team. They're sweating a little bit. They're sleeping a little less that week. I've been saying that for a while, and now it's starting to become chic. That criticism is gaining steam. But anybody who's been watching me for a while knows, and it's not like I'm a genius. This is just tried and true basic stuff. I mean, you come out as a peewee guy, you understand. You first learn to run, you understand physicality, and it doesn't really change. There's a little accentuations, especially when the rules changed right away, but we're back to basic football. Still pass game, but you must run. Now, the Dolphins, we were number 1 in the league in rushing. What are you talking about? Again, you have to understand. Right here, Bobby Peters had a great tweet about 26 minutes of Dolphins crack seal setups. And this was the main play we run to the outside. This is where Achane got most of his big runs. Mostert got most of his big runs. This was a huge threat for us, especially early, because they didn't understand our recipe. But when they understood this is all we could do, and we did the pocket post, and we would do screens, it got slowed down. But I want to dig into the play itself to show you personnel is key. But our ability to do this play needs to be countered by another play, which is the cutback off of it, or just the simple inside runs. Now you see the orange box. That is your guard, center, and tackle. These guys, along with the dude on the edge, to create that seal, the crack seal, is how this play gets off. Now the big play comes from the guard, the tackle getting to the second level, and then a guy coming across the line, shooting across, getting to the second level. But it won't go anywhere unless your guard, center, and guard, and the guy on the edge, whether it's a tight end or receiver, makes this first initial block. Now, Connor, see the red circle? That's center. Getting that guy, the middle linebacker, is critical. If you don't, then the cutback gets cut off, and he can shoot past and string it out and limit the run. That running back's got to get to the edge and then turn upfield. And if he can get there, he can get him from behind, and you have lots of problems. Now, Eichenberg is going to struggle with that. Connor was awesome. And now you can see, too, your right guard, you see right there, he takes that step. He takes a step, and then the D lineman's in front of him, and then he caps him. And he's got to hold him there. And that takes a lot of strength, technique, and agility. Hunt was amazing at that. Now, the back end guard isn't as critical. His job is to do something. It's more to get the back end stuff, but the back end stuff on a crack seal opens the cutback. And when you get some cutbacks, then you got guys pinching inside, and then again, it opens up the outside. It's the tension. So if you're not getting these three guys off, and obviously the guy at the edge, then you're going to have problems. So we need to make sure that this offensive line is doing its job. But that's also not just getting to the edge. You got to be able to drive block in inside zone. You've got to be able to block and control the inside for the cutback. And so while we did have lots of rush yards, it petered out against the better defenses and when it was most critical, because you can't just do the same thing over and over and over again. You've got more weapons, more arrows in your quiver, means more guessing, more tension, and more success for the offense. All right, so Neil Driscoll put this one up a few days ago or weeks ago, whatever. It was a good one, real good one. Sometimes he gets me crazy. I'm sure I do the same thing, but he sometimes like really good stuff. Over the cap shows the Dolphins OL, Liam Eichenberg, 2024 cap jumped to $4.2 million. That's Dolphins starter money. Okay, they could save 3.4 to release him, but they won't. I said he's going to be a starter. Now you're hearing he's going to be the starter guard or center. He can't cut it at guard. No power unless it's a major jump. He's our starting center. This is why they rolled the dice last year to force him on the roster to be the backup, because they knew he was going to be the starter this year. Greer, for whatever you say about him, he believes in his picks. Is he right or wrong? If this plays out big, then it's going to go a long way. But if it fails, he's going to be the starter, 100%. 100%. Now, I like that Powers Johnson guy. He could play maybe guard. I don't think we're going from, I think we're trading back and we're going to move out of that. We need lots of players. I think we're trading back. But I'm almost 100% Eichenberg's going to be a starter. But the problem here is he lacks power. Jackson lacks power. Even Tehran at his best lacks power. So that means we're going to keep doing zone stretch. And that crack sweep is going to be the mainstay, which is okay when you got a pass game like this, but you got to come back inside. And then when you're in third and short or fourth and short, then you need to power off the ball. We're not going to have that. Eichenberg will crimp us unless he can get himself right. Okay, so Chris Greer, here's another one, Daniel Oyufusi. Chris Greer acknowledged the Dolphins will have to get edge rushers with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips in long rehabs. So people were very confident in them getting back soon. Puts a little, fog of war on that. These guys are going to be, they're such valuable pieces. Even if they are ready, they're going to be slowly inserted. And if you want to get an edge rusher of value, because you can trade guys like that, if you get a good enough edge rusher, then maybe you can move off Phillips if he's not your guy. So I think, knowing Grier's history, he's looking at an edge rusher in one of the first or second round picks. And this kind of points to what they're looking at. And so I think you're going to see tight end through the free agency, mid to lower level. I think the receivers, we got 2 top end receivers you spend so much money on. You're not going to spend big. You'll get a back end guy to fill it out and maybe get the right tight end to offset the need for that receiver. But I think they're going DE edge rusher in that first or second round from what it seems like. Because what are you going to do? Wait to the back end of the draft? Are you going to find a quality edge rusher in free agency for a reasonable price? The only way you could do it is through the draft. And so I think, reasonably it should be 2 offensive linemen, but I think they're going to go 1 offensive lineman and an edge rusher with a trade back at this stage. Now, Armando Salguero, the Dolphins, a negotiating extension that a source said will put QB Tua among highest paid players. That is going to require significant change in how the Dolphins do business. They know this, and it's time for you to know. One more to this. Oyufusi again, Daniel. I really like this guy. I think he's got a good demeanor. I really like this guy. Chris Grier acknowledged the Dolphins won't be able to make the big offseason moves they have in recent years. Tua gets a new deal. It's not, this quote from Grier, it's not sustainable. At some point, you have to reel it back and then cherry pick here and there where you go. Now, look at my little image with this ugly mug on here. I did this November 22. Chubb mega deal demands 2022 and 23 success. You can go check that video out. And I told you, 24 will be the wall. Now it's popular. And when I said it, people said I was a hater or I didn't know what I was talking about. But I was ahead. I understood. Guys, get ready. This is a cap crunch. He's going to get small little bits, cherry pick. There's not going to be any big signings. They can't afford it. They can't. And they're going to be pushing lots of money forward. And 25 is going to be lean too. Likely the first free point that you're going to have, and it's not going to be super free, is going to be in 26. But guys, I called it. I've called so many things. And a lot of people get angry at me. But I'm so early on a lot of stuff. I'm not always right. But this was very clear. So get ready. You have to understand. Now, this does not mean we're doomed. If the team is a team and you got the right pieces to lead it and you get some luck on the injuries and then on the schedule and you get a nice depth, then you can do a lot of stuff. I don't think this roster is Super Bowl bound no matter what, unless you get heavy breaks. But I don't think we're doomed just yet. But the road is going to be very narrow. The era for margin is going to be very narrow. Get yourself ready. Anybody who's telling you differently, they're wrong. At least I hope. I don't have to say I'm wrong. Anyway, guys, so I hope you enjoyed. Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. Go Phins. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.